stuck behind this fucking truck. If this truck's gonna go up Hicks. Hell no.
That's a good way to start the video.
Yeah, I know shit. Alright, it's Back Pain 4 here. It's WWE Fan Tony.
Wow, I'm surprised you actually remembered my YouTube name.
Hey, you know, hey, you still use it, right?
Yeah.
No shit. So, we're going to finally complete a journey that's been 6 years in the making. 6 years ago, I think it was May 10th, 2011. We tried to go up to a...
No, it was May, like, 19th, because it was just like a couple of days before my birthday.
Yeah, okay, May 19th. You were 17, I was 18. So, there, in San Jose, on the west mountain range of the Santa Clara Valley, there's this place called Mount Umunhum. And in the 60s and 70s, there was a radar installation for, like, if the Russians were to bomb us, that thing would let us know before they put satellites in the air. And in the 80s, they took it down in the box where the satellite dish used to sit on top, the radar dish used to sit on top of. It's still there.
We call it the box. It's a building.
It's a big building. You can see pretty much anywhere in San Jose, no matter where you're at, you'll see that box. Because on the west mountain range, there's that box, and on the east mountain range, there's an observatory. So, you know, you always tell which side of town you're on just looking at the mountain range and see which box you were looking at. However, at the time we were going up there, 6 years ago, it wasn't cleaned up yet. It was just abandoned, but closed off.
No.
Everything up there, go ahead.
To get this like more cleared up, it's legal to go up there with a car to a certain point where they blocked it off, and then from that point you're allowed to hike up
to a certain
point. But here's the thing: that certain point was apparently spray painted onto the road, and the road, and right where the spray paint was to signify don't go past this.
Yeah. It
was literally none of the road was left of it, so we didn't know that we passed the no going back point.
Yeah, and the shitty thing was, like, we had this shit planned out. Like, the night before, we had some knives. I had a foot-long Pakistani Bowie knife that was worth $2. He had a $20 pocket knife.
No, it was a $20 fixed blade. It was basically a cheap Rambo knockoff with the little compass on the inside.
You know, we called the sheriff, made sure it's illegal for us to open carry these knives up here in this trail. They're like, yeah, no problem. Just make sure it's fully visible at all times. We're like, okay. So our plan was, at the time I had a 96 Ford Thunderbird. You know, you can probably see if you go back in the channel to 2012, you still see some videos of it. What we did, both had BMX bikes, BMX style bikes. We took the wheels off and shoved them in the trunk.
The front wheels. We took the
front wheels off, and we shoved them into the trunk of the Thunderbird, and we were going to go up there. We got up about 8 o'clock in the morning, you know, just drug ourselves out of bed, started driving up there, listening to metal and stuff, and trying to get woken up. It worked. We drove up there. We filmed parts of it, and I'll overlay some of the video of that part of it over this as we're talking when we get to relevant parts. So we're driving over, you know, we're using a shitty camera. Like, that camera was shit.
This camera that we used back then was probably about like that big.
It fits in the palm of your hand.
It was a crappy, like, miniature version of a regular old school camera with the little flip.
It's basically meant for kids.
For the little flip out screen.
Yeah.
But it was a Disney one that was probably like this big. You could fit it in your hand.
It ran on 2 AA batteries and an SD card. And for you video guys out there, here's what it did. It did 480i at 15 frames per second.
I have no idea what that means.
It's absolute shit. Even for 2011, that was absolute shit, because the iPhones and stuff could do 720p, which is HD, like start of HD, then, you know, blah blah blah. So we're going up the hill. Jesus. The only problem with this road is me and Tony have been racing on this road. Has him as a co-pilot for years. We hate doing it at the day because the fucking glare, even with nice Ray-Bans like this, the fucking glare is atrocious in the daytime. I'm just taking it chill right now.
Okay, I'm gonna clear this up. We weren't racing. We were just may have been going a tiny bit over the speed limit.
Yes. No laws were broken, because no one saw the laws getting broken. Anyways, so
we may just have to cut that out.
Edit. So we get to the top of the hill. It's about, I would say, about a 15-minute drive, you know, through some windy roads. They're nice roads. I mean, at the time, the road wasn't paved yet, so it was a lot shitter than it is now. They repaved this road about a few years ago, and it's gone to shit again. But, you know, at the time, the road like some parts of the road were collapsed. And when you get to the summit, near the summit, the road at that time literally hasn't been maintained since the 70s, I'd say.
Okay, we gotta rewind a little bit. So he had a duffel bag. We were set. We had drinks. We had Twinkies that we were gonna eat on top of the guard tower when we got there. We were set, and we had toilet paper. Need toilet paper.
Yeah, no shit. We had to use it too.
Yeah. Water.
Anyway.
Snacks. And some masks, which we'll get into that in a little bit.
We're working on it. Oh shit. So we get up to the summit, you know, we park our car. At the time, we'll see up there, I'll take the camera off and show you. Now there's a parking lot at this point where we're no longer, where we're hopefully allowed to drive past now. But at the time, this was the highest you can go with the car. Yeah,
that's where we were gonna start. We started unloading our bikes, and the sheriff happens to come by.
Park ranger,
and asked us what are we doing. We tell him we're gonna ride our bikes just to the no trespassing point,
which we didn't see.
But he told us the roads are really fucking bad.
It's basically dirt.
It's dirt with patches of cement in random spots.
Right.
He said I wouldn't advise using your bike. So I was just like, okay, I don't feel like dying today, so let's just walk.
No. The problem was he asked us, do we have helmets? And the law in California says after 18 you do not have to wear a helmet if it's a bicycle, but on trails, which they consider that a trail because the road was closed to traffic, you had to wear a helmet. So we had to pack the bikes fucking up. We just put them fucking together too. We had to take them back apart, toss them back in the car. In duffel bag, here's what we had in duffel bag. We had relevant tools to fit the bike tire on, wire cutters we'll get to in a minute, and a bunch of other shady as shit that would be, which we'll get to that point in a little bit. So we started hiking up.
We had one of those little hand saws.
Yeah, which I saved my ass in that Thunderbird video when we did Thunderbird Hill.
Fuck, I just farted.
God damn. Woo!
We gotta bleep that out.
Bleep. Fucker. Bleep. God, bro, crack a window. Jesus.
Oh, God, it's not stopping.
Every time. Every fucking time. Oh, my God. Shit.
Fresh air.
Unfucking believable. I cannot fucking believe this shit. Damn.
So where were we?
I don't know. You know, you killed some of the brain cells. So these are, you know, cherished bonding moments I'm forgetting because you...
Oh, yeah, having to put our bikes back in the car.
Yeah.
Then, start walking. And mind you, at this point, like a lot of the land that's over there, it's privately owned.
Well, here's the thing about that. Halfway up this road, which is probably still this way, there's a bunch of squatters up there that parked like literally single wide mobile homes up there. And since there's really no way for them to get them down, they let them sit there. And because they're at the time, I don't know if there still is, there's no physical way for those RVs to get back down the road safely. So they're squatting up there. It's like, oh.
Well, plus there is private land up there too.
There's some private land up there.
So what's the first thing we see? A sign with bullet holes in it.
Oh yeah, we have a picture of that too. I'll put up right here.
It's in that video too. It's in the video too.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It should be.
But that's the first thing that should have gone off in our heads. We should turn back.
No.
But no. We were stupid.
It was fun. Then we get up the hill. He has to take a shit.
We both had to take a shit.
So you know, he's kneeling in the corner, and I'll say it like this: squatting and taking a shit is difficult,
especially with the pants around your ankles.
Pants around your ankles, and when you're not in the best of shape. Man, you can't see shit through this glare. So as we get up the hill more, we pass this patchy area, like painted on the ground. Like, you can't even read it. All you can tell, there was something painted here at one point. We kept going past it because I'm like, oh, it's just probably because up this road, which they got rid of, there was metal grates in the road to signify where the checkpoints were when this was an active military installation. So there's like 3 or 4 checkpoints up there at the time. And we just thought, okay, it's probably another checkpoint, so let's keep going.
Yeah. They need to have a sign that says
stop here, dickheads.
No trespassing beyond this point. It was just spray paint on the ground that was from like 30 years ago, and the road on that spot was gone.
Ruined.
It was just patches of little pieces of pavement that had paint on it that we didn't even know that was the no trespassing.
Right. So, you know, we so we eventually get to the top. You know, it was a little long hike. We took a few breaks. You know, we had some. I think we had Gatorade or water. Both. You know, we were conserving our supplies because we knew the trek down was going to be a mother too, because we were, you know,
going up was the semi-easy part. Trying to go down
was going to be interesting.
While not like falling, like semi-running down it because how steep it was.
Yeah. Bumpy roads. Yeah, this part of the road they redid years ago. It still doesn't work. Excuse me. What the fuck is that? Is that a bike? Yeah. Yeah, the glare is so bad in some of these in daytime on this road. It's sketch. Take this window off, see if that helps. So we get to a point where you get to the top of the hill and you can see the tower, you can see the building. And at this point, we decide, at the time we had sunglasses, we put bandanas on our face, masks on.
Which is really fucking stupid.
Which was stupid, one. I don't know why we did it. I think we just wanted to look cool for the video. I don't know, but at this point, we were in deep shit because there was this modern-ish fence, like 80s, 90s, with a bunch of old school cameras on it. It looked like it didn't work, but we'll find out later it did work. And the only thing on top of this mountain that was in use was a radar, like a weather radar for one of the news stations, or all the news stations in the valley. That's where they put the radar. It's pretty cool. Like, I'll put a picture of it here. It was actually a pretty sweet looking radar. It's probably still there to this day. It's just fenced off. So we go around the fence. All right. At this point, realized that's when the shit hit the fan. At that point, so we probably spent another 30 minutes to 40 minutes up there,
and then we got roughly 100 yards.
100 yards because we decided we were gonna take a sit, take a nice little sit down real quick, rest up
on the road, and then we were probably about 100-ish yards away from the building.
All right. At this point, the knife I had in the knife thing here, it fucking fell out, so I shoved it in the duffel bag with the holster still on my belt. He still had his holster on. You know, our pockets were full of stuff. The duffel bag, remember, we had all those random tools.
We had sheets. We weren't carrying guns. We were carrying knives.
We don't need guns yet. So we're sitting down. All of a sudden, we hear an engine pulling up. And this was just when the Ford Explorers, like those modern EcoBoosts, well, not EcoBoosts at the time, but those Ford Explorer sheriff cops were coming out. All of a sudden, we see a sheriff roll up. Right? We're like, fuck. So she pulls up.
Here's the fun thing. They had the guns drawn.
Yeah, she's like, okay, put your hands where we can see them. We're like, shit. We're just like, put our hands behind her head, turn around. She frisks us down, asks, what's this? That's the camera, that's her keys, that's her phone, blah, blah, blah. She's like, what are you doing up here? We're trying to see the box. All right, well, where's your knife? Oh, you have a knife on you? It's in the bag. Why is it in the bag? Because it kept falling out. You know the knife could go through the bag and stab you and shit. And we're like, we're aware of this. We're aware of this.
No, but here's the thing. It was a fucking cheap-ass knife. It was a copy of a copy. And it wasn't sharp. It wasn't sharp at all. It wasn't even like a butter knife would do more damage than that thing.
Yeah. So she says, here's the shit thing about that whole part. But we didn't get this on camera because we took a break.
No, but so
I'm an adult. He's a minor.
After all this stuff happens, she tells us, "All right, start walking down the mountain."
We're like, what?
So we're like, okay, start walking down. Probably like half a mile down. She comes by and like, okay, you guys can get in. Are we going that way?
Yeah, but they're stopped.
Sorry.
That's okay.
We're going to Mount Umunhum.
Right here.
Way?
Yeah, it's over here.
So it's open. So at this point, we're on the road. You could park here and hike it, but we're going up it.
So we go down it probably like 30 feet. She comes up. Okay, you guys can get in.
But here's the thing: like, she already wrote me a ticket for trespassing. She didn't give him shit.
No, they wrote both of us. They didn't write her the ticket then. They just
no, I got a ticket. I got a citation.
They
had a physical citation.
Oh, I did too.
But she called your mom.
No, but I did too. But here's the thing. We'll get to that. So they fingerprint us, do all that stuff, and then he says, "Okay, you'll get something in the mail." So, funny thing, he gets community service for like what, over $100.
I had to go to court.
Oh,
all right.
Oh, you had to go to court.
I had to go to fucking court. He didn't get shit. He got off nothing because he was a minor. 2 weeks from turning 18, he got jack shit.
It was like 5 days from turning 18.
Yeah. So I go to court. You know, well, she actually, before I get to the court part, she actually said, nice. We're walking back. She comes up. She's like, okay, get in the car. She starts giving us a speech like, you know, you get exposed to asbestos. You could look at this thing online. Blah blah blah. Like, we know we could look at it online, but we've seen this growing up. We want to see it in person because at this time there was talks about them wanting to demolish the whole fucking mountain and turn it back to the original. There was talks like they're going to get rid of it, so we wanted to see it before they tore it down. There's a lot of apartments up there and like apartment complexes and buildings that we got to see. We're not there right now. I know that they tore it all out. But there's stuff we could actually see that it's not. We actually got to see a lot of this stuff. We just wanted to see the box. Our primary goal was next to this box. The box was sealed up. We knew that, but there was a observation outpost next to the box.
It's basically an old school guard tower.
Old school guard tower. Damn, fuck me. Fucking popular mountain now, eh?
Yeah, people are waiting. People are. People
we did 6 years ago.
People ain't stupid like us. They waited until it was open.
Right. Meanwhile, they'll never know this road when it was bullshit.
Oh god.
So, I have a video of this. If you look back, real quick plug here. I'll link the video right here somewhere. In 2013, when me and a Swede made a video of this car with this Nokia, like that new Nokia phone. This is the road we did before they fixed it. So if you're curious where the road is. Anyways, going back to the story. See the box. So she gives the ride down. You know, she gets the lectures, all that. Our primary goal at the guard outpost tower was to eat a Twinkie, get to the top of it. If the door was open, oh yes, sit inside, eat a Twinkie. If the door was closed, sit on the outside. Yeah, it's gone. So you know, we did decide. All right, we'll just do. Well, that was thrown in the ass. So I have to go to court. All right. I go to court, and fucking, they say it to me like this, you know, a lawyer comes up, says, why are you trespassing, blah, 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 da, 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 da. I'm like, hey, we're trying to see it, it's misdemeanor trespassing, or something like that. So I looked online, technically, the classification was still as an active military base, so I could have got fucking felony trespassing on a military base if they really want to throw it at me, but they just said, fuck it, just misdemeanor trespassing.
Did they look at the video? Evidence?
No, the video was just there to let them know, hey, there's trespassers up here.
No, like our video.
No, they never looked at it.
Because that was good evidence, right? Well, not the part where we had to put masks on.
Yeah, no shit. So, anyways, statute of limitations over. That case is closed. So we can say
that's
this.
like 5 years.
6.
No, 5 years of like.
Yeah, I think so.
So we can talk about it.
Yes. So after all of this shit, all right. After all that said and done, fucking. They gave me 2 options. Number 1, I get 2 years probation for this whole area. I couldn't enter this area, which means I couldn't go on my favorite driving road for 2 years. Or...
which was a no-go no matter what.
No-go. Or 40 hours community service.
Really? Only 40?
40. So what happened was I ended up saying, fuck it, do community service. I ended up working about a 40-hour week at Goodwill to pick up those hours, community service. And, you know... Please be open, please be open. Yes. Yeah, this wasn't open. They had this parking lot here. See right here, there's a parking lot.
You can see the cars.
See the cars and everything probably back there.
Now,
this point right here
was blocked off.
This is where we had to
just hook it by foot.
Yeah, so all this road you're seeing right here, we've never driven on legally ever. So it's the first time for us, and so all this from this point on until we park is there's this fucking sheriff. That's the kind of car that took us.
That'd be funny if that was the exact
same
car
woman, right?
that dropped us off.
Right. So from that gate to where we parked the car, we walked this whole fucking thing. All right. It was a nice walk. It was nice, scenic, quiet. I mean, if it wasn't, I mean, it was a good hike thing, but it's just they you know, that's fucking. I'm hearing the freshly paved road hitting the car and hitting the underside of the car. Hear that?
They probably can't hear it.
They can't hear it. So. No, it's just the shock starting to squeak because we're driving so long. So we like the thing that cock blocked the day I finished community service was the day my brother came by to visit from, he was in the Navy, came by with my first niece, came by and visited. Then the next day after that is when I started, I believe it was, fucking, we went right back up the hill after the community service to show them where I was at, and we took a picture out there. I don't know what happened to that picture. Damn, this brings back memories. Okay, I don't know if you can see it, but over here, there's a housing emplacement embankment area. That's
private
squatters,
land.
It's private. So
no, it's private land.
It's private land.
It's owned by somebody.
Then after my brother went home, then I started at Safeway, and then blah 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 county, blah 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 here. So it's fun. Like, this was the last thing I technically did.
Oh no! And here's the thing: when we were up there was a bench
For the workers that worked up there to sit on for break, yeah.
No, but there was a bench that was in the name of somebody. I think it was a person that made it.
It's probably still there.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's still there. It was like it was like in memory of
So and so.
So and so. So it's like, really, you're gonna have a bench there,
Yeah.
and we're not
Okay,
allowed.
right here, you'll see it coming up right here. That back there is the private property. That's where we saw bullet holes. And I believe we took a shit right over there.
No, we took a shit.
A little higher up. Yeah, we don't remember these details.
We took a shit behind a tree somewhere.
Yes. So, you know, this is the big thing for both of us, because this is the last thing we did in high school before I graduated. Because you're behind me, right? Or 2 years?
1 year.
1 year behind. This is the last thing I did in high school. I purposely didn't want to go to prom because I didn't like dancing. I detested dancing with a passion.
He took ROTC.
ROTC.
Instead of PE, so he didn't have to dance.
True story. The first reason that I took military class, number one, well, you know, one thing, I liked the military at the time. I wanted to do that. Number two, I knew the PE class danced, and I hate dancing in public. I hated dance. I still do to this day. You know, I always slow danced with my ex-girlfriend at the one of the RTC dances for like a little bit, and that was it. I'm not comfortable doing it, blah blah blah. So I took military class to avoid dancing in the fucking PE class. People have their reasons. That's my reason. So it's important to us. This is the last. I took a shit right here. This is the last hoorah for me, because after this, I did some stuff with remember that roommate used to live with me? We went to the beach a few times, blah blah blah. Then after that, I started in July 28, 2011 when I started at Safeway, and beyond that, I never really had any free time except for like once a year.
No, you had like
a couple free
a couple days, like a day, like 2
day off here, day off there. So it's like I've started working full time.
That's when we would hang out.
That's when we would hang out, and after that, you know, all the videos you saw on the channel from that point on in real life were taken on, like, it was just sporadic stuff. So, you know, that's when life took over. So this is the last thing I did in my childhood before I had to become an adult and accept responsibilities and shit. Fucking, man, we hiked all this shit. It doesn't even feel like we did, huh? Man, we took the whole, it took us like 3 hours.
No, it took longer than that.
We got here at 8. I think it was like 4 hours. Bunch of signs here they put up that says, okay, the rock slide possibilities, da da da. New guardrails. See all these guardrails? I wish you could see the stuff. What we'll do on the way down. Yeah, this is where the sign was shot out. Putting in our gate there. Okay, this is the point right here where the camera and stuff was. So we're putting in our parking space here, parking area here, it looks like. So we're coming up to the point. What I'll do on the way down, we'll put the camera in the dash cam so you can see the road better. So right about, I would say, but the phone's going off. So that's a nice view right there. You can see the ocean, actually. You look at that way.
No,
So
one of these days we should come here at night.
yeah, if you can. So right about here is where we put the masks on, because I don't know if the gate's still there or if it's still relevant. Holy shit.
Again, really stupid idea.
I think the video shows it too. I think we showed like a face cam of it real fast. Share the road. No problem, boss. So they added all this fencing in right here. So yeah, right here. And they're still there. You look up. So at this point,
we put our masks on.
we put our mask on.
Like a couple,
and
like,
I'll show you right here. It's like some old school.
Probably like a block away, we put our masks on.
Yeah.
We came up. If you can flip, well, we can show on the way back. But there's a spot right here that goes up higher. That's the way we went.
stuff. This is where we got a ride back from the sheriff because we took the high road, not the low road. So we're up here.
We were still.
So we're just below the Doppler right now.
Bit.
Still there, still being in use probably. Sites, because this is, I think, the second highest peak, the second or third highest peak in the valley that you could legally access. It's also the most accessible. Jesus, this road. Oh, I see that truck a lot. Those Ranger trucks get annoying when you're trying to do toge at night because they pop out of nowhere. Then you think it's a cop. Edit. Ignore that, Prius. This is a tight-ass road, huh?
Tighter than my ex. You know who I'm talking about.
I know what I'm talking about.
No name, no name.
No names. No names necessary. Memories are okay. Okay. So there's two places. Left, probably blocked off. Right, going right. Yeah, right here, right in this area.
That dropped us off of our car, his
car. Yeah, right here, because we can see the fucking everything. So yeah, we'll get out here. It's parking right here, and it looks like we have access to it. Okay, here's the parking lot, and we're gonna start taking a hike up there. We'll click the camera back on when we get up there to see what we should show you what we saw. Yeah, we'll park it right here.
Yeah, it was basically in this spot where she picked us up and then dropped and drove us the way back.
Box is huge, actually. Tried to kick the door in. It is, this one's all sealed up.